Well, welcome back for day 2 with Pastor Matthew Barnett, and we're talking about his book, The Cause Within You, finding the one great thing you were created in this world to do. And isn't that what we all want? We want to find that one great thing that we were all created to do. Pastor Matthew, thank you so much for being here today. Now, tell us, yesterday you talked about how you effectively preached your church of 39 people down to 0. And what do we do when we have this great feeling that we have a calling in our heart, but we're starting at 0? So I appreciated your answer yesterday. If you missed that, make sure you tune in yesterday, click back, and you can go and watch that one. But today I want to talk about, okay, you hit 0, and then you realized that God wasn't calling you to build a great church. Like, God wasn't calling me to build a great ministry. God isn't calling us to do something great with the exterior. What God wants us to do is focus on people's interior. So you said in your book, you're talking about God didn't call you to create a church. He created you to build people. And you one day took your desk and put it outside on the sidewalk, and you put candy there. And tell us, why did you do that?
Well, I was the last staff member left. I mean, I was women's ministry director. I was a men's ministry director. I mean, people would call our church and they would say, "Do you have a women's ministry?" And I'd say, "Sure." And I'd change my voice to make it sound like we had a women's ministry. I mean, that's all we had back then. Just me and 4 bags of food outside the desk every single day. And God said, "I'm going to start something amazing with just those 4 food bags." And I decided to love what I had in my hand, not despise at what was in my hand, or not throw away what was in my hand, but I really started to love whatever God gave me. And people would come by and they'd say, "Hola, güero pastor," in the neighborhood, you know, all the moms in the neighborhood taking their kids to school. And I was known as the whitey pastor, the güero pastor in the neighborhood. And people would come by dropping off tacos and tamales, and all my paycheck was used to buy food for people in the neighborhood. And then my dad would come to town once a week. I'd borrow $60 from him, and then I began to rent a house in the neighborhood where we started taking in drug addicts whose lives were getting saved and born again, and putting them into those homes. And then 2 houses. And before long,
wow,
every penny I spent was used in the neighborhood. And that's what the cause within you is really all about. It's about people understanding that a great cause is in every single person, but you have to value what's in your hand. You can never say what's in my hand is not enough. Even if it's your experiences or your pain, God can even take the experiences and pain in your life and use it for one great dynamic cause. So whatever you're dealing with, whatever you've been dealt with, or whatever you look in your hand and say, well, it's simply not enough. It's always enough, because it's always been about, you know, the David and Goliath and the 5 smooth stones. It's always been about the loaves and fishes that have been submitted to Christ. Everything in the Bible that we celebrate has always been because somebody said, "This is what I have in my hand, and when it's given back to God, it's going to be great."
That is wonderful. Yeah, I often think about how when I started my ministry, I wanted to be able to wake up one day, go to an office, and have people that I was ministering to. And the reality is, I started my ministry and woke up, and there was nothing but this desire within me. And so what the Lord started teaching me every day is, Lysa, look at the opportunities that are right in front of you. You know, sometimes a leap of faith is just a small little step toward what I already have in front of you. And so if you're in that place today and you're wondering, what is the one great thing? What is the cause within me? I would encourage you to look right where you are. I love Henry Blackaby and his principles and experiencing God. You know, watch where God is working and join him there. And that's what you did in that neighborhood. You saw people with a need. You took your desk and set it in the middle of that need, and you said, what do people need? They need food. And if you give them food, then they'll open their heart for you to be able to give them the real spiritual food, the message of the gospel. Pastor Matthew, your story is so inspiring. We'll continue tomorrow and hear more, but for today, if you haven't gotten this book, The Cause Within You, Finding the One Great Thing You Were Created to Do by Pastor Matthew Barnett, I encourage you to get a copy. It is so inspiring. I started reading it and literally am having a hard time putting it down. It is amazing. Thank you, Bloggy friends. We'll be back tomorrow.